Hi, I'm Martin Lewis of MoneySavingExpert.com, and I'm afraid many of you have been getting in touch with me due to the collapse of low-cost holidays. There are 137,000 people in the UK affected, 27,000 people already on holiday, 110,000 with bookings, and this is a really difficult and tricky situation. What I want to do now is talk through calmly what your options are. But I'm not going to do all the technicals. For that, please go to the printed guide on the website at moneysavingexpert.com/low cost, where you'll find template letters and more information to help you. But let's talk through the issue. If you're on holiday right now, well, the civil aviation scheme means that your flight back should be fine, so you're able to come back. The big problem is the hotel may not have been paid because low-cost holidays, well, at the point that you book, tend to pay for the flights, but it didn't pay the hotels until up to 30 days after you'd stayed. So they may not have had the money and they may ask you to pay. And there's not very much you can do about that. I'm going to go through later routes that you may be able to try and get your money back from your initial booking of low-cost holiday, but it isn't guaranteed. It's a very tricky situation, I'm afraid, but you're a bit stuck. Talk to the hotel, ask it if there's anything it can do to help. Can it be considerate? But will be very difficult. If you're at home and you haven't gone yet, you have more flexibility and choice, but it's a difficult choice. The point is, the likelihood is your flight will be fine. You need to make sure that you've got your booking confirmation. If so, your holiday flights will be fine generally, and you should be able to go on them. But the hotel is unlikely to have been paid for. So you need to ask it two questions. One, does my booking still stand? And two, will I have to pay you? In most cases, the answer will be yes, your booking stands. No, we haven't been paid, you will have to pay us. And that puts you in a tricky position. At this point, while I'm going to talk through methods that you may be able to get your money back, they're maybes, they're not guaranteed. You're going to have to work out if you can afford to go on that holiday. Hard as it sounds, I know you saved up for it before, I know it's difficult, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're paying out twice and you can't afford to do so. Other options you can look at: could you go at a different time of the year? Maybe talk to the airline, see if it can move the flights, or if the flight was cheaper another time of the year, go then. Maybe try and stay in a cheaper hotel or consider a different holiday altogether. And no, that's not what you want to do, but think carefully about your finances before you get yourself in a position, especially getting yourself in debt, something you won't be able to afford to do in the future. So my strategy is always plan for the worst, i.e. you won't get any money back, and hope for the best, that you will. But you can't guarantee that. So what do you do to get your money back from the original booking? Well, the primary route depends on how you paid for the booking. Your strongest chance is if you paid on a credit card, but you don't have to have paid the entire amount on a credit card. Even if you paid a deposit on the credit card, then Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act says the credit card company is liable for the entire amount jointly with the firm that you booked with. Well, that firm's collapsed. That means you're reliant on the credit card company. But even a penny deposit on a credit card for a £10,000 holiday, the credit card company is liable for the entire amount. There are a couple of wobblers in this, though. Wobbler number one: Section 75 doesn't work where there is an intermediary agency that breaks the link between the debt and the purchase. And travel agents can count as an intermediary agency. Now, my thought on this, confirmed by the Financial Ombudsman, but that's not a guarantee, it's just an opinion from it, is the likelihood is in this case, if you've got a package, i.e. flights and hotels together, then that counts as a product, so Section 75 should work. If you bought a flight or a hotel separately, then it might count as an agency, so Section 75 wouldn't work. The other wobbler here is if you book for a large group that aren't your family, then that indirect booking for somebody else can also break Section 75, but you should at least be covered for your portion of the booking. That's credit cards, although there is another option for credit cards coming in a moment, but that's the main power, the legal power of Section 75, and there are template letters on the site for that. Next step: if you paid on a debit card, or even a portion on a debit card, then while you don't have legal protection, there's a scheme called chargeback run by MasterCard, Visa and Amex. They all have slightly different terms how they do it. But effectively what chargeback does is it says your card company will ask the company who took the payment, the bank who took the payment from low-cost holidays, for the money back. And if you do it quickly enough, within roughly 120 days, that can happen. Now, it's worth noting you can do a chargeback on both a debit and a credit card. So if you're trying Section 75, just in case it doesn't work, it's also worth saying, if that doesn't work, I want to start a chargeback procedure as well. Because, for example, if you had that intermediary issue, then you'd be trying to get your money back through the credit card chargeback system. So debit cards, credit cards can work on chargeback, and that's a strong method. If you paid on PayPal, then PayPal are saying that the PayPal protection scheme should cover you if you put low-cost holidays through them. Any other method, cash, cheques, bank transfer, as always, there's very little protection and not much you can do. Now, as well as all those payment methods, we're going to go into the lesser chances here, but things you might want to try anyway. Number one, travel insurance. Unlikely to cover you unless you bought a specific holiday company collapse add-on policy that most people don't do. This is something that's excluded from most travel insurance policies, so not a good one there. Next, well, the big problem with low-cost holidays is it wasn't at all protected, which would have meant that none of this was such an issue. It is protected by something called the Govern de las Îles Baleariques, but you know, they're saying they'll put aside 1.2 million euros to pay out. There are 110,000 people who haven't gone on holiday yet. If you do the maths, it's a little over 10 euros each if everyone were to claim. So I would go for that. That only works if you've got the flight and hotel together. It doesn't work for separates, but I'd still have a go at that because it might help a little bit, and if less people claim, then the potential payout pots will be bigger. And very similar is saying you're a creditor to low-cost holidays is in administration, so you may be able to, when they divide all the assets, get some money back from that, but from past experience that tends to be pennies in the pound. It's worth doing anyway. Those are your main routes. Your payment methods are the stronger ones, the others are lesser but are worth doing anyway. There are no guarantees here, but I hope some people will get your money back, and do let me know and let moneysavingexpert.com know. Faye's standing over there, who's done a lot of work on this and done great work on the guide, working with me on exactly how to do this one. And we do want to hear from you, because your experience, if you succeed, we may be able to hone that to help others. So keep us in touch on this one. I'm so sorry that this company has ruined your holiday. And again, if you're not on holiday yet, be sensible with your finances. Don't push yourself into something for a week away that's going to leave you in debt for a long time and struggling after that. Thanks.